The crash. The night sky of the Moldov desert stretched endlessly, a sea of stars twinkling against inky blackness. Sarah Reeves hiked along a dusty trail, her boots crunching softly on loose gravel. She often came out here alone, seeking solitude and a respite from the chaos of city life. There was a meditative quality to the vast emptiness, broken only by the occasional cry of a coyote or rustle of wind through scrub brush. Sarah paused to take a swig from her canteen, wiping her brow with the back of her hand. Even at night, the desert air held residual heat from the day's brutal sun. As she tilted her head back, something caught her eye, a bright streak tearing across the sky. A meteor, she thought at first, but it was moving too erratically, spiraling and wobbling as it plummeted earthward. The object disappeared behind a low ridge, followed moments later by a thunderous boom that shook the ground beneath Sarah's feet. A bright flash lit up the horizon. Her heart began to race. That was no meteor. Curiosity overrode caution as Sarah set off toward the impact site at a jog. Whatever had crashed was less than a mile away. As she crested the ridge, her breath caught in her throat. Scattered across the desert floor were chunks of twisted metal and strange, shimmering alloys. Faintly glowing debris trailed from a deep furrow carved into the earth, leading to the main wreckage. It was unmistakably a spacecraft of some kind, but like nothing Sarah had ever seen before. The craft was circular, perhaps 30 feet in diameter, with a central dome surrounded by a ring of what looked like propulsion units. Much of the hull had been sheared away on impact, exposing a tangle of unfamiliar technology within. Sarah approached cautiously, her mind reeling. This was alien. There was no other explanation. She had always believed there must be life elsewhere in the universe, but to have proof right in front of her was overwhelming. A faint sound caught her attention, a weak groan coming from the wreckage. Sarah's eyes widened. There was a survivor. She scrambled over the debris, heedless of the sharp edges that tore at her clothes and skin. The groan came again, louder this time. Sarah spotted movement near the craft's central dome and gasped. Half buried in twisted metal was a figure unlike anything she had ever seen. Its body was vaguely humanoid, but the proportions were all wrong. Too tall and slender, with elongated limbs. The skin had an opalescent sheen that seemed to shift colors in the starlight. Most striking were the eyes, large, luminous orbs with vertically slit pupils. The alien's gaze locked onto Sarah, and she felt a jolt of something. Not quite fear, but a profound sense of otherness that made her skin prickle. For a long moment, they simply stared at each other, two species meeting for the first time. The spell was broken when the alien tried to move, only to cry out in pain. Sarah snapped out of her daze, instinct taking over. Alien or not, this being was injured and needed help. "It's okay," she said softly, knowing her words wouldn't be understood, but hoping her tone would convey her intent. "I'm here to help. Try not to move." Sarah began carefully clearing away debris, mindful of sharp edges. Up close, she could see the alien was badly hurt. A viscous silver fluid, blood, she assumed, seeped from several deep gashes. One leg was bent at an unnatural angle, clearly broken. The alien watched her warily, but did not resist as Sarah worked to free it from the wreckage. Its breathing was labored, and Sarah worried about internal injuries. She had basic first aid training, but had no idea if it would be applicable to an alien physiology. Finally, she managed to extract the being from the tangle of metal. Sarah gently laid it on the ground, using her pack as a pillow to support its head. "Can you understand me at all?" she asked, not really expecting a response. To her shock, the alien's mouth moved, emitting a series of clicks and whistles. Sarah shook her head. "I'm sorry, I don't understand, but I want to help you." She mimed wrapping a bandage around her arm. "You're hurt. I need to try to stop the bleeding." The alien seemed to comprehend her gestures. It nodded weakly and relaxed slightly, allowing Sarah to examine its wounds more closely. She used strips, torn from her shirt to bind the worst of the gashes, applying pressure to slow the blood loss. The alien's skin felt strange under her fingers, smooth and slightly cool to the touch. Sarah tried not to dwell on how surreal the situation was, focusing instead on the immediate need to render aid. As she worked, her mind raced. What should she do now? The ethical thing would be to call the authorities. This was a monumental discovery that could change the course of human history. Scientists and world leaders needed to know about it. But as Sarah looked into those alien eyes, she hesitated. There was intelligence there and fear. How would Earth's governments react to a crashed alien craft? Would they treat this being humanely, or lock it away to be studied and dissected? Sarah didn't trust that they would have the aliens' best interests in mind. And what about the aliens' own people? Surely they would come looking for their missing craft. How would they react to finding one of their own in human custody? It could spark an interstellar incident. The more Sarah thought about it, the more she became convinced that calling this in would be a mistake, at least for now, until she could better assess the situation. The alien needed medical attention, but taking it to a hospital was out of the question. Sarah made a decision. She would take the alien back to her cabin and do what she could to help it recover. It was risky, maybe even foolish, but she couldn't bring herself to abandon this being to an uncertain fate. "Okay," she said, meeting the alien's gaze. "I'm going to get you somewhere safe. Can you walk at all?" The alien attempted to stand, leaning heavily on Sarah for support. Its leg was definitely broken, but it managed to hobble a few steps. It wouldn't be easy, but Sarah thought she could half-carry the being back to her jeep about a mile away. As they set off across the darkened desert, Sarah's mind whirled with the implications of what she was doing. She was risking everything to aid this strange creature. Her career, her freedom, potentially even her life if things went badly. Part of her wondered if she had lost her mind. No sane person would take this kind of risk for an unknown alien. But as she felt the alien's labored breathing and sensed its pain and fear, Sarah knew she was doing the right thing. Humanity and compassion had to transcend the boundaries of species. The journey to the jeep was arduous. The alien was surprisingly light, but awkward to support with its lanky frame. They had to pause frequently to rest. Sarah murmured words of encouragement, hoping her tone, if not her meaning, would provide some comfort. Finally, they reached the vehicle. Sarah helped the alien into the back seat, arranging some blankets to make it as comfortable as possible. She took one last look at the crash site, now just a dim glow on the horizon. In the morning, government agents would surely swarm the area. She needed to be long gone by then. As Sarah climbed into the driver's seat, reality began to set in. What had she gotten herself into? She was now harboring an alien fugitive with no real plan beyond basic first aid. But as she glanced in the rearview mirror and saw those luminous eyes watching her, Sarah felt a renewed sense of purpose. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them. This being had crossed vast stretches of space, only to crash on an alien world. The least Sarah could do was offer whatever help she could. With a deep breath, she started the engine and set off into the night, leaving behind the wreckage and entering a new chapter of human-alien relations. As they drove, Sarah's mind raced with questions. Where had this being come from? Why was it here? How similar or different was its biology to humans? And most pressingly, how could she communicate with it? The drive to her cabin took nearly 2 hours. Sarah constantly checked her mirrors, paranoid about being followed. But the desert roads remained empty. In the backseat, the alien drifted in and out of consciousness. Dawn was breaking as Sarah pulled up to her modest cabin. It was isolated, the nearest neighbor over 5 miles away. Still, she hustled to get the alien inside before the growing light could reveal them. Once in the cabin, Sarah laid the alien on her bed. In the warm glow of lamplight, she got her first good look at her unexpected guest. Its proportions were even stranger than she had first thought, at least 7 feet tall, with spindly limbs and elongated fingers. The opalescent skin seemed to ripple with faint patterns that shifted and changed. Most alien of all was the face. In place of a nose were two narrow slits. The mouth was lipless, more of a flexible maw. And those eyes, they dominated the smooth, sloped face. Lightless orbs that shimmered with intelligence. Sarah realized she had been staring and quickly looked away, embarrassed. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't mean to be rude. This is all just a lot to take in." To her surprise, the alien responded. Its mouth moved, emitting a series of warbles and clicks. Then it raised a hand to its throat, tapping lightly. A moment later, a synthesized voice emerged. "Apology, unnecessary. Understandable, reaction." Sarah's jaw dropped. "You can speak English." "Universal, translator," the alien explained haltingly. "Learning your language. Primitive, but functional." 1,000 questions flooded Sarah's mind, but she forced herself to focus on immediate concerns. "You're injured. I need to tend to your wounds properly. Will you let me help you?" The alien nodded. Acceptable, grateful for assistance. Sarah gathered her first aid supplies and set to work cleaning and bandaging the alien's injuries. The silver blood had coagulated, forming a strange, shimmering scab over the worst gashes. The broken leg would be trickier. Sarah fashioned a splint, hoping the alien's bone structure was similar enough to humans for it to be effective. As she worked, Sarah tried to engage the alien in conversation, both to distract it from pain and to satisfy her burning curiosity. "Do you have a name?" she asked. "Something I can call you?" The alien was quiet for a moment, as if considering. Then the synthesized voice said, "Zinluru," means seeker of knowledge. "Zinluru," Sarah repeated. "I'm Sarah. Well, I suppose nice to meet you doesn't really cover it." Was it her imagination, or did Zinluru's mouth twitch in something like amusement? Extraordinary circumstances, the alien agreed. Unexpected outcome. Sarah nodded. "I have so many questions. Where are you from? Why did you come here?" Zinluru's large eyes blinked slowly. "Home, far, many light years. Came to observe, study, not meant to interact." "A scientific mission?" Sarah asked. Zinluru nodded. "Your species, fascinating. Primitive technology, but great potential. Watching, for many years." Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. Aliens had been observing humanity for years, perhaps decades. How much did they know about us? "What happened?" she asked. "Why did you crash?" Zinluru's expression shifted, the patterns on its skin darkening. "Malfunction. Systems. Failed. Lost control. Fortunate. To survive." Sarah finished bandaging the last of the visible wounds. "Will your people come looking for you?" "Uncertain," Zinluru replied. "Mission. Covert. May assume died in crash." The alien's tone was matter-of-fact, but Sarah sensed an undercurrent of fear and loneliness. Stranded on an alien world, uncertain of rescue, she could only imagine how terrifying that must be. "Well," Sarah said firmly, "you're safe here for now. I'll do everything I can to help you recover and figure out what to do next." Zinluru's huge eyes studied her intently. "Why, help me? Risk, great, no obligation." Sarah considered the question carefully. "I suppose, because it's the right thing to do. You're lost and hurt on a strange world. I couldn't just leave you there." She smiled slightly. "Besides, I've always wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now I know we're not. That's pretty amazing." The alien was silent for a long moment. Then it reached out, laying a long-fingered hand on Sarah's arm. The touch sent a strange tingle through her skin. "Grateful," Zinluru said simply. "You are, good human." Sarah felt a lump form in her throat. The gesture of trust and gratitude, so human yet so alien, drove home the magnitude of what was happening. Two beings from different worlds, finding a connection across the gulf of space. "Try to rest," Sarah said, gently patting Zinluru's hand. You're safe here. We'll figure things out. As the alien's eyes drifted closed, Sarah sat back, her mind whirling. What would the coming days bring? How long could she keep Zinruru hidden? And what would happen when the inevitable discovery came? One thing was certain, her life would never be the same. For better or worse, Sarah had taken her first step into a larger universe. All she could do now was face whatever challenges lay ahead, one day at a time. Uncharted waters. As the desert sun climbed higher in the sky, Sarah paced anxiously in her small kitchen. She had spent a fitful night on the couch, her mind racing with the implications of harboring an extraterrestrial fugitive. Zinruru slept fitfully in the bedroom, occasionally emitting soft trills that Sarah assumed were expressions of pain or distress. The morning news blared from a small radio on the counter, providing background noise as Sarah tried to plan their next moves. Suddenly, a report caught her attention. Unconfirmed reports of an unidentified object crashing in the Modav Desert last night. Eyewitnesses described seeing a bright light and hearing a loud explosion. Government officials have cordoned off a large area and are refusing to comment on the nature of the incident. Speculation ranges from a downed satellite to a secret military test gone wrong. We'll bring you updates as the situation develops. Sarah's heart raced. It was starting already. How long before they traced the crash trajectory to this area? She needed to move fast. A soft warble from the bedroom doorway made her jump. Zinru stood there, leaning heavily against the frame. Its iridescent skin seemed duller in the harsh morning light, and Sarah could see the toll the crash had taken on the alien's body. You should be resting, Sarah chided gently, moving to support Zinru. The alien's synthesized voice crackled to life. Heard, news, danger, approaches. Sarah nodded grimly. They're searching the crash site. It won't take them long to expand the search area. We need to leave, find somewhere safer to hide. Zinru's large eyes blinked slowly. Where can we go? Nowhere. Safe for me on this world. The alien's words hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. It was right. There was no easy solution here, but she couldn't give up. I have an idea, Sarah said, her mind racing. My uncle has an old cabin deep in the mountains. It's isolated, off the grid. We might be able to lay low there while you recover, and we figure out our next move. Zinryu considered this for a moment, then nodded. Acceptable plan, but Jenny difficult, still weak. Sarah smiled reassuringly. We'll manage. I'm not abandoning you now. As she helped Zinryu back to bed and began gathering supplies, Sarah's mind whirled with the enormity of what she was undertaking. She was about to go on the run with an alien, evading government forces and possibly putting her entire future at risk. It was madness. But every time she looked at Zinryu, saw the intelligence and vulnerability in those strange eyes, Sarah knew she was doing the right thing. This wasn't just about one alien anymore. It was about humanity's first real contact with an extraterrestrial species. The decisions she made now could shape the future of interstellar relations. No pressure, right? As the sun began to set, Sarah helped Zinryu into her jeep. The alien's condition had improved slightly, but it still moved with obvious pain. Sarah had done her best to disguise Zinryu with baggy clothes and a hooded sweatshirt, but there was no hiding its inhuman proportions. They would have to avoid populated areas as much as possible. Just as Sarah was about to start the engine, a distant sound made her blood run cold, the rhythmic thump of helicopter rotors. We need to move now, she said urgently, throwing the jeep into gear. As they sped away from the cabin, Sarah could see searchlights sweeping the desert behind them. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel. This was really happening. They drove through the night, taking back roads and avoiding main highways. Sarah's nerves were frayed, every set of headlights in her rearview mirror setting her heart racing. Beside her, Zinru sat in tense silence, its alien features hidden in the shadow of the hood. As dawn broke, they finally reached the foothills of the mountains. The terrain grew rougher, the jeep bouncing along overgrown logging roads. Sarah's eyes burned with fatigue, but she pushed on, just a little further. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the cabin. It was little more than a shack really, weathered wood nestled among towering pines. But to Sarah, it looked like salvation. She helped Xin Yuru inside, collapsing onto a dusty couch as the adrenaline began to fade. They had made it. For now, at least, they were safe. Xin Yuru's synthesized voice broke the silence. Grateful for your help. But, must ask, why risk so much for me? Sarah considered the question carefully. I guess, because I believe this is bigger than just you or me. This is humanity's first real contact with an alien species. How we handle this, how we treat you, it could set the tone for our entire future in the cosmos. I want that future to be one of compassion and understanding, not fear and violence. Xinru was quiet for a long moment. Then, to Sarah's surprise, it began to emit a series of rapid clicks and whistles. It took her a moment to realize the alien was laughing. What's so funny? She asked, bemused. Irony, Xinru replied. Came to study humans. Now, learning more than ever imagined. You are remarkable species. Sarah felt a warmth bloom in her chest. Despite everything, despite the danger and uncertainty, she knew in that moment that she had made the right choice. As the days passed, Sarah and Xinru settled into a routine at the cabin. Sarah made supply runs to a nearby town, always careful to avoid drawing attention. She brought back books and a small TV, eager to share human culture with her alien guest. Xinru, for its part, proved to be an insatiable learner. Its grasp of English improved rapidly, and soon they were having deep discussions about philosophy, science, and the nature of their respective civilizations. Your species is so young, Xinru mused one evening as they sat by the fireplace. Yet you've achieved so much in such a short time. It's why we find you so fascinating. Sarah leaned forward, intrigued. How long has your civilization been around? Xinru's skin rippled with patterns that Sarah had come to recognize as thoughtfulness. By your measure of time, nearly 1,000,000 of your years. We had mastered interstellar travel before your ancestors left the trees. The scale of it made Sarah's head spin. And in all that time, you've never made official contact with another species. We have encountered many, Xinru replied. But open contact is complicated. Some species react with fear, others with aggression. We learned long ago that observation from afar is often safest. Sarah nodded slowly. I can understand that, but surely not all contact goes badly. Xinru's large eyes fixed on her. No, not all. Sometimes we find individuals like you, ones who react with curiosity and compassion. It gives us hope. The conversation was interrupted by a breaking news bulletin on the TV. Sarah's heart sank as she saw footage of military vehicles converging on her cabin in the desert. The search continues for Sarah Reeves, the woman believed to be harboring an extraterrestrial entity, the reporter announced. Officials are urging the public to come forward with any information on her whereabouts. The military has stressed that the alien may be dangerous, and that Ms. Reeves may be acting under some form of coercion or mind control. Sarah clicked off the TV, her hands shaking. They're not going to stop looking for us, are they? Xinru placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. The touch still sent a slight tingle through her skin, but Sarah had grown used to it. We will find a way, the alien said softly. You have shown me the best of humanity. I will not let them harm you. As Sarah looked into those strange, beautiful eyes, she felt a surge of determination. They were in this together now, for better or worse. Whatever came next, they would face it as a team, human and alien united against the forces that would tear them apart. Little did they know, events were already in motion that would test their bond to its very limits. The lines between friend and foe, human and alien, were about to blur in ways neither of them could have imagined. As the fire crackled and the night deepened around their hidden sanctuary, Sarah and Zinru sat in companionable silence, each lost in their own thoughts about the uncertain future that lay ahead. The journey that had begun with a crash in the desert was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. Cosmic revelations. The mountain cabin creaked and groaned under the assault of a fierce thunderstorm. Rain lashed against the windows as lightning illuminated the night sky in brilliant flashes. Inside, Sarah and Zinru huddled near the fireplace, the alien's iridescent skin reflecting the dancing flames. "Your weather is intense," Zinru observed, a hint of awe in its synthesized voice. Sarah chuckled. "You should see hurricanes. Though I suppose you've probably witnessed far more extreme phenomena in your travels." Zinru's skin rippled with patterns Sarah had come to recognize as thoughtfulness. True, but experiencing it firsthand is different, exhilarating. Their conversation was interrupted by a sharp crack of thunder that shook the cabin's foundations. Sarah jumped, her nerves still on edge from weeks of hiding. "Sorry," she said, embarrassed. "I'm still a bit jumpy." Zinru's large eyes studied her with concern. "You have sacrificed much for me, your safety, your freedom. I regret the burden I have placed on you." Sarah shook her head firmly. "Don't apologize. I made my choice, and I stand by it." She hesitated, then asked the question that had been nagging at her. "Zinru, is there any way for you to contact your people, to let them know you're alive?" The alien was quiet for a long moment, its skin darkening to a deep indigo. "Possible, but risky. My communication device was damaged in crash. Repairing it would require parts your world does not yet possess." "But if we could get those parts," Sarah pressed, "could you call for help, for extraction?" Zinru's eyes narrowed. "You wish me to leave?" "No," Sarah said quickly. "That's not it at all. I want you to have options. I don't want you to feel trapped here." The alien's expression softened. "Understand your concern, but leaving, complicated. My presence here violates many protocols. If discovered, consequences severe. For me, for you, for relations between our species." Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. "You mean, your people might see this as a hostile act? Us hiding you?" "Possible," Zinru admitted, "or could be seen as proof of humanity's potential. Outcome, uncertain." Their discussion was cut short by a sound that made Sarah's blood run cold, the distant whump-whump of helicopter rotors. "They found us," she whispered, panic rising in her chest. Zinru moved with surprising speed, its tall frame unfolding as it rushed to the window. "No," it said after a moment. "Not military, different design." Sarah joined the alien at the window, squinting through the rain-streaked glass. The helicopter was indeed civilian, its sleek black form unlike the military choppers she'd been dreading. As it descended into a nearby clearing, she caught a glimpse of a logo on its side. A stylized atom surrounded by stars. "Nexus Corporation," Sarah breathed. "What are they doing here?" Nexus was a tech giant, known for cutting-edge research in fields like quantum computing and aerospace. They had no reason to be landing a helicopter in the middle of nowhere during a thunderstorm. "Unless..." "Zinru," Sarah said slowly, "is it possible that some humans might already know about your people? That there could be, I don't know, secret contact or cooperation?" The alien's skin rippled with agitation. "Possible. Some species make clandestine agreements, share technology, information, against protocols, but happens." Sarah's mind raced. If Nexus had some kind of backdoor relationship with aliens, it would explain their meteoric rise in the tech world. But it also meant, "We can't stay here," she said urgently. "If they're working with your people, they might be here to capture you. Or worse." Zinru nodded grimly. "Agree, must leave. Now." They scrambled to gather essential supplies, shoving them into backpacks as the sound of voices carried over the storm. Whoever had been in that helicopter was approaching the cabin. Just as Sarah was about to suggest sneaking out the back, Xinlu froze. Its head tilted, as if listening to a frequency beyond human hearing. "What is it?" Sarah whispered. "Message," Xinlu replied, its voice tight with tension. "Encoded signal. From my people." Before Sarah could ask what the message said, the cabin door burst open. Two figures in sleek black uniforms entered, their faces obscured by high-tech visors. They carried weapons unlike anything Sarah had seen before, compact and glowing with an eerie blue light. "Step away from the alien," one of the figures ordered, their voice distorted by their helmet. Sarah moved instinctively to shield Xinru. "Who are you? What do you want?" The second figure raised their weapon. "This doesn't concern you, Ms. Reeves. We're here for the asset. Come quietly, and no one needs to get hurt." Xinru's synthesized voice cut through the tension. "You do not understand situation. I'm not what you think." The figures hesitated, clearly not expecting the alien to speak. Sarah seized the moment of confusion to edge closer to the back door. "What do you mean?" the first figure demanded. Xinru's skin began to glow, pulsing with increasingly complex patterns. "I am not merely observer. I am seed." The alien's form began to shift, elongating and fragmenting into swirling tendrils of light. Sarah watched in awe and terror as Xinru's true nature was revealed, a being of pure energy, far beyond the comprehension of human science. The Nexus agents stumbled back, their weapons clattering to the floor. What are you?" one of them gasped. Xinru's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. "I am potential. Catalyst for humanity's next evolution. Sarah Reeves. Prove humanity ready. You proved otherwise." A pulse of energy rippled out from Xinru's luminous form, washing over Sarah and the Nexus agents. Sarah felt a tingling sensation throughout her body, followed by a rush of something. Knowledge, awareness, a sense of connection to something vast and incomprehensible. The Nexus agents weren't so lucky. They crumpled to the ground, unconscious or worse. "Sarah," Xinru's voice resonated in her mind. "You must choose. Stay as you are or embrace transformation. Become bridge between our peoples." Sarah's head spun with the implications. This went beyond simple first contact. This was about the very future of humanity. "Will it hurt?" she asked, her voice small in the face of cosmic forces. A ripple of amusement emanated from Xinru. "Change always does. But pain is temporary. Potential, infinite." Outside, more vehicles were approaching. The storm raged on. The universe held its breath, waiting for Sarah's decision. In that moment, balanced on the knife edge of history, Sarah made her choice. She stepped forward, embracing the light, embracing the unknown. As the energy enveloped her, she felt her consciousness expanding, touching minds across vast gulfs of space. She was still Sarah, but she was also something more. A pioneer, a bridge between worlds, the first of a new kind of human. As the cabin door burst open once more, Sarah turned to face the newcomers. Her eyes glowed with otherworldly knowledge, her skin shimmering with the same iridescence as Xinru's. "We need to talk," she said, her voice resonating with newfound power. "About the future of our species." The storm outside seemed to pause, as if nature itself recognized the gravity of the moment. Humanity's destiny had just taken an unexpected turn, guided by the most unlikely of alliances. And it all began because one woman chose compassion over fear, understanding over ignorance. Sarah Reeves had saved a strange alien after a saucer crash, and in doing so, she had changed the course of human history forever. The journey that started in the desert was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning, a cosmic adventure that would reshape the very fabric of reality itself. Quantum entanglement. The world held its breath as news of the extraordinary events at the mountain cabin spread like wildfire. shaky smartphone footage of Sarah Reeves, now transformed into a being of shimmering energy, dominated every news channel and social media platform. The internet exploded with theories, fears, and hopes about humanity's sudden leap into a new era of cosmic awareness. Sarah, still adjusting to her new state of existence, found herself at the center of a global storm. Her consciousness, now vastly expanded, could perceive the web of human thoughts and emotions swirling around her. It was overwhelming, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. Focus, Xinru's voice echoed in her mind. Your new abilities take time to master. They stood together in a secret government facility, hastily reproposed to House Earth's first official extraterrestrial visitors. A team of wide-eyed scientists hovered nearby, their instruments useless in the face of such advanced beings. Sarah took a deep breath, centering herself. I can feel everything, everyone. It's like the entire human race is inside my head. Xinru's energy form pulsed with understanding. Connection, fundamental to universe. You are now conduit. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a delegation of world leaders, flanked by military personnel who looked decidedly uncomfortable in the presence of beings that defied their understanding of reality. The President of the United States stepped forward, her face a mask of carefully controlled awe. Ms. Reeves, Xinru, on behalf of humanity, I welcome you. We have many questions. Sarah smiled, her luminous form rippling with amusement. I'm sure you do, Madam President. But perhaps we should start with the most pressing issue, the Nexus Corporation and their clandestine dealings with extraterrestrial life. A murmur ran through the assembled officials. The President's eyes narrowed. You have evidence of this? Better than evidence, Sarah replied. I have understanding. Nexus has been reverse engineering alien technology for decades, hoarding knowledge that could have transformed our world. But their goals were selfish, driven by profit and power rather than the betterment of humanity. Xinru's voice resonated through the room. Nexus violated galactic protocols, endangered delicate balance. Their actions, catalyst for intervention. The President nodded slowly, processing this bombshell. And this intervention, it involves transforming humans into whatever it is you've become. Sarah shook her head. Not exactly. I'm a prototype. A bridge between humanity's current state and its potential future. But the choice to evolve must be made freely by each individual. One of the military generals stepped forward, his face flushed with anger. This is insanity. We can't just let aliens rewrite human DNA on a whim. It's a threat to national security, to the very essence of what makes us human. Sarah turned to face him, her eyes filled with cosmic wisdom. General, with all due respect, humanity's essence isn't defined by our physical form. It's our capacity for growth, for compassion, for pushing the boundaries of what's possible. This isn't an invasion. It's an invitation to join a galactic community we've only dreamed of. The room erupted into heated debate. Sarah could sense the swirling emotions, fear, excitement, greed, hope. It was a microcosm of the reactions playing out across the globe. Suddenly, a new presence made itself known. A shimmering portal opened in the center of the room, and through it stepped a being similar to Xinru, but somehow more refined. Ancient wisdom radiated from its luminous form. I am Sol Nor, the being announced, its voice resonating on multiple levels of reality. Overseer of this sector of the galaxy, we have been watching your species with great interest, and recent events have forced us to accelerate our plans. The humans in the room stood in stunned silence, confronted with irrefutable proof that humanity was a very small player on a vast cosmic stage. Sol Nor continued, the choice before you is monumental. Embrace evolution and join us among the stars, or remain as you are, isolated on your world until you either destroy yourselves or overcome your limitations on your own. The President found her voice. And if we choose to remain as we are, then we will respect your decision, Solnor replied. But know that the universe is not always kind to those who refuse to adapt. There are forces out there, ancient and terrible, that prey on developing worlds. Your planet has been protected thus far, but that protection cannot last indefinitely. Sarah stepped forward, acting on instinct. She could feel the fear and uncertainty radiating from the humans around her. Perhaps there's a middle ground. A gradual transition, allowing humanity to evolve at its own pace, while still benefiting from the guidance and protection of more advanced civilizations. Xinru's energy form pulsed with approval. Wise suggestion, Sarah Reeves. Proves human potential. Adaptability, your species' greatest strength. Solnor considered for a moment, its form shimmering with complex patterns. A compromise. Interesting. It has been some time since a young species offered a novel approach. The ancient being turned to address the human leaders. We will consider this proposal. In the meantime, Sarah Reeves will serve as intermediary between our civilizations. She will help guide humanity's first steps into a larger universe. As the implications of this cosmic negotiation sank in, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility settling on her newly transformed shoulders. She was no longer just Sarah Reeves, desert hiker who saved a crashed alien. She was now humanity's ambassador to the stars, tasked with shepherding her entire species into an unimaginable future. The room buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Plans were already being made for worldwide announcements, for the carefully managed release of advanced technologies, for the monumental task of preparing humanity for its new role in the cosmos. As the human leaders dispersed to begin the Herculean task of managing this transition, Sarah found herself alone with Xinru and Solnor. You have set in motion events that will reshape the galaxy, Solnor intoned. The path ahead will not be easy. There will be resistance, conflict, and sacrifice. But there will also be wonders beyond imagining. Sarah nodded, her luminous form pulsing with determination. I'm ready. For the sake of humanity, for the sake of all sentient life, I'll do whatever it takes. Xinru's energy intertwined with hers in a gesture of solidarity. Not alone. Together, we will forge new future. As they prepared to address the world, to usher in a new age of cosmic enlightenment, Sarah reflected on the incredible journey that had led to this moment. It all started with a simple act of compassion, saving a strange alien after a saucer crash. That one decision had unlocked humanity's true potential, setting them on a path to the stars. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges and marvels in equal measure. But as Sarah Reeves stood on the threshold of a new era, she knew one thing for certain: the greatest adventure in human history was just beginning. Cosmic convergence. The holographic display flickered to life, projecting a three-dimensional map of the Milky Way galaxy. Sarah Reeves, her form now a swirling amalgamation of human and cosmic energy, manipulated the display with mere thoughts. Around her, a diverse group of human scientists, politicians, and military leaders watched in awe. This, Sarah said, her voice resonating with otherworldly harmonics, is our current position in the galactic community. A small blue dot pulsed on the outskirts of one spiral arm, and this, the map zoomed out, revealing a vast network of interconnected civilizations spanning the entire galaxy. This is what we're about to join. 5 years had passed since the world-shaking revelation of alien life and the offer of evolutionary advancement. Humanity's progress had been nothing short of miraculous, though not without its challenges. Dr. Amelia Chen, head of the newly formed Department of Xenoscience, leaned forward. The advancements we've made in clean energy alone have solved our climate crisis. And the medical breakthroughs. We're on the verge of curing diseases we once thought impossible. General Rodriguez, still skeptical after all this time, grunted. At what cost? We're changing what it means to be human. Some say we're losing our very essence. Sarah turned to face him, her luminous eyes filled with compassion. Change is never easy, General, but our essence isn't in our physical form. It's in our capacity for growth, for love, for pushing the boundaries of what's possible. The president nodded, her face etched with the weight of leading humanity through this transformative era. We've come too far to turn back now. The Galactic Council's invitation to join as probationary members is an opportunity we can't refuse. As if on cue, a shimmering portal materialized in the center of the room. Xinru emerged, accompanied by several other alien beings of various forms, some energy-based like Sarah and Xinru, others with physical bodies unlike anything found on Earth. Greetings, representatives of Earth. Xinru's familiar synthesized voice filled the room. The Galactic Council is prepared to receive your delegation. Sarah felt a surge of emotion. This was the moment they had been working towards for years, humanity's official entry onto the galactic stage. As the human leaders prepared to step through the portal, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Red warning lights bathed the room in an ominous glow. What's happening? The president demanded. A frantic aide burst into the room. Madam President, we're detecting a massive energy surge in near-Earth orbit. Something's coming through. The holographic display shifted, showing a colossal ship materializing above the planet. Its design was angular, aggressive, utterly alien to both human and Galactic Council aesthetics. Xinru's form pulsed with alarm. Cryolax warship. Ancient race, conquerors of worlds. They prey on developing civilizations. Sarah's mind raced. The protection you mentioned years ago, it's gone, isn't it? Solnor, who had remained silent until now, nodded gravely. Your evolution and imminent joining of the galactic community has made you visible to forces we've long shielded you from. The Cryolax must have detected the energy signatures of your advancements. General Rodriguez's face hardened. So much for the benefits of cosmic enlightenment. We've painted a target on our backs. No, Sarah said firmly. We feigned allies. She turned to Xinru and the other council representatives. Earth is on the verge of joining your community. Will you stand with us now, in our hour of need? The alien delegates conferred briefly in a language beyond human comprehension. Finally, Xinru spoke. The Galactic Council stands with Earth, but understand, this conflict may escalate beyond this single world. The Cryolax have long been a thorn in the side of peaceful civilizations. Perhaps it is time for a final resolution. The president's eyes widened. Are you suggesting galactic war? Solnor's ancient form seemed to grow more substantial, if necessary. The universe is vast, but resources are not infinite. Sooner or later, expansionist empires like the Cryolax must be confronted. Earth's unique position, a bridge between physical and energy-based life forms, may be the key to ending this threat once and for all. Sarah felt the weight of history pressing down upon her. When she had made the choice to save Xinru all those years ago, she could never have imagined it would lead to this moment. Humanity, barely out of its cosmic infancy, was about to play a pivotal role in a conflict that would shape the future of the entire galaxy. What do you need from us? Sarah asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Xinru's form pulsed with determination. Your adaptability, your creativity, your indomitable spirit. These are weapons the Cryolax cannot comprehend. The room erupted into a flurry of activity. Plans were made, strategies devised. Humanity's greatest minds worked alongside alien intellects to prepare for the battle that would determine not just Earth's fate, but that of countless worlds throughout the galaxy. As the first shots were fired in near-Earth orbit, Sarah Rees stood at the center of it all. She was the bridge between worlds, the catalyst for humanity's cosmic awakening. And now she would be the tip of the spear in humanity's first intergalactic war. The Cryolax warship loomed ominously in the sky, a harbinger of destruction. But as Sarah looked around at the united faces of humans and aliens alike, she felt a surge of hope. They had come so far, overcome so much. This was just another step on humanity's journey to the stars. With a thought, Sarah opened a communication channel to the enemy ship. Her voice, infused with the power of her evolved form, resonated across space itself. To the Cryulax forces, she declared, her words echoing through the cosmos. You face not just the people of Earth, but the combined might of the Galactic Council. We offer you one chance to withdraw. After that, we will show you why humanity was chosen to join the cosmic community, and why those who threaten peace in this galaxy should fear us. As she spoke, fleets of advanced ships began emerging from hyperspace, the gathered forces of 100 alien races come to stand with Earth in its time of need. It was a breathtaking display of unity, a promise of the wonders and challenges that awaited humanity in its new role as a cosmic civilization. The battle that followed would be remembered for eons, sung about in the spacefaring ballads of 1,000 worlds. It was the day humanity proved its worth among the stars, the day Earth became not just a small blue planet, but a beacon of hope for oppressed civilizations across the galaxy. And it all began because one woman, alone in the desert night, chose compassion over fear when faced with a crashed alien saucer. Sarah Rees had changed the course of human history, and now she would help write the next chapter in the cosmic saga of life itself. As energy weapons flared and reality itself bent under the strain of the battle, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The universe, it seemed, had a grand adventure in store for humanity, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead them next.